late night video watching when I wake up and I can't sleep. And now I am responding to Thunderbolt94's video, Agent of Doubt and Empiricism. And first he notes that he might be interjecting himself into somebody else's conversation, but don't worry, you're not the first one. In fact, Julian was brought into a conversation between Jack and I, and then the conversation took a different dimension altogether. So don't worry about that. That's going to happen. It's YouTube. Everyone's going to have an opinion on these things. First, let me just say that in using empiricism to base my beliefs, I will grant that there are concepts which I cannot use empiricism to prove. They're just outside the realm of empiricism. But I use empiricism as a way to discern which facts I should believe in and which I should stay skeptical of. Okay? As soon as something can be proven empirically, then it has more credibility. Okay? So it's really not what I'm using to just declare what's true or false. It's what I'm declaring has more credibility and what still it has not been proven. I'm not saying that the things that have not been proven are necessarily false, just that I don't believe them with as much credulity as anything that's empirical. Now, you have in your video an example that you're trying to put forth as being the same as our problem with miracles and empiricism and no God of the gaps. And your example is that how do I believe that other people have minds if I can't empirically prove that? Well, I'm going to say that I can see empirical evidence of other people's minds. You can give a corporeal body that you see in the physical world an intelligence test. You can give another body another intelligence test. And let's say they get two different scores and they vary widely. One of them smart, one of them stupid. Give them both each another intelligence test. Give them another, give them another, give them another. And you're probably going to find a pattern in each one. This pattern represents what I'm seeing empirically from somebody else's mind. You can see that someone physically has a brain. You can see that somebody physically has a body. But you can see the effects of the mind. Okay? And when you see the effects of the mind as they are translated into this world, you then you have a means to measure that is not direct. It's an indirect measurement of the presence of the mind. And in the same way, when I'm saying that miracles are happening less and less in the world because people are using empirical methods to measure things right away, and they're investigating miracles right away. They're looking for these indirect measurements because once a miracle or once a bit of magic happens, it affects something in the real physical world. And we can see what it affected, and we can test that. And it's when we do that, when we test these indirect methods, you know, because apparently there's a part of this magic or miracle that is floating around in something that is not testable, it's not empirical, but then it's going to intercede in our lives and make an effect in this physical world. Okay? That is when I'm applying empiricism here, and I'm seeing that less and less people make these claims of, oh, I had a miracle happen. You know, there are less widely believed miracles of incredible nature, such as people dying and raising from the dead 3 days later. You know, every miracle in the Bible, every bit of magic. And when people do see magic, they suspend their judgment on it right away because they know there's illusionists in the world, and you know they might be entertained by those illusionists, but they don't believe anything until they can really test it and make sure that there isn't some other explanation for it. So what I think you're missing from my video is that Julian is trying to pin me to a point where I can't put his claim that there is a God into that category of, okay, don't believe it yet. You know, because we don't have empirical evidence on it, which would give it more credibility. I put it in that category of, okay, still skeptical about it. You know, doesn't have credibility yet. Okay, Julian's trying to pin it on me that because his claims could not possibly have any empirical evidence to them, that you know the existence of a God could never have any empirical evidence for it. Well then, I have no reason for putting his beliefs in that category. And I'm saying, okay, if you're a deist, but if you have any definition of God that's put forth in any, you know, traditional religion, in any holy text, you see that there are gods that intercede in our lives. Okay? And once they change anything in the physical world, that's something that we can see empirically. They are transforming from this non-empirical thing that you can't see, you can't touch, you can't smell, you can't experience in your mind. There are people in this world that believe that God gives them directly the ability to believe in them. Magically beams the information into their brains. That is something that is not physical, creating something that is physically present. And maybe you don't believe that the brain is like a chemical computer. Maybe you don't believe that information is written in your neurons. Maybe you haven't gotten that far into biology. But I'm here to tell you that if there is a non-empirical being giving anything to you, revealing its presence in any way, in any sense, or even using, you know, sidestepping the five senses and directly writing into your brain, any of those things that gives you the ability to know that there is a God becomes empirical at that moment. Because something happened to affect this physical world by your belief. Okay? So think about what I just said there, and you're welcome to interject in this conversation as well, again, because everyone's probably just going to jump in at any point. And I'm not afraid of being caught in gaffes. Go ahead, Bring it on. Hopefully, I've explained my position just a little bit better. Later, Jacob.